Recording in progress.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om, Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om, Sri Hari Om. Hari Om, Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to Ramayanam sessions with Naresh Mama. Now, like every week, we're going to start the session with the prayers. Before that, let me share my screen. Can everybody see my screen? Thumbs up.
Yes, sir.
Can everybody hear me clear?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So let's get started with our prayers. Please sing along with me. Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Tu Janakatmaja Purato Marutiryasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Excellent work, everybody. So let's get started with the next session of our segment, which is the story segment. A quick recap of what we have heard the previous week. So Indrajit, he conjured a magical trick against the army of Rama. So while all the important leaders of Rama's army were watching, he brought out an illusionary, a magical Sita Devi who looked just like Sita Devi in his chariot, and to baffle everybody, to stun everybody, to surprise everybody, he took out his sword and killed that illusionary magical Sita Devi in front of everybody. So they all were very, very surprised, and they were stunned, and they didn't know why they have to do the battle anymore. Then they went back and told Rama that this is what happened. So nobody was able to realize that it is the magic of Indrajit. So Vibhishana, who is the brother of Ravana, uncle of Indrajit, he is very well aware of all the magic tricks that they are capable of pulling. So he came rushing to Rama and he said, this is just a trick that Indrajit is playing on everybody. So he performs a black magic yagam or a ritual to invoke bad spirits, evil spirits, to get the boon from Lord Brahma that he got. He can activate that boon where once he finishes that ritual and goes to a battle, he cannot be defeated anymore. So he is just buying time from all of you, magically doing this so that you guys will be stunned. But do not let him complete that ritual. It is called a Nikumbhala ritual, and he does it in the Nikumbhala ritual place. So go there at once and stop him from completing the ritual, because if he completes the ritual, we won't be able to stop him. So Lakshmana, Hanuman, Jambavan, Angad, and some important leaders, they immediately went to that place where he was performing that ritual. They put up an excellent battle. Indrajit was in the middle of the ritual and he had to stop because of all the beatings that his team was getting from Hanuman and other great warriors. They were crying for Indrajit's help. So Indrajit stopped in the middle of the yagam and then they both started fighting, Indrajit and Lakshmana. So a very, very furious and very excellent battle happened between both of them. And eventually Lakshmana, he took out the great arrow that was given by Indra himself, very strong weapon. So he put it on his arrow and he released it onto Indrajit. It went with very, very, very supersonic speed and it chopped off the head of Indrajit. So Lakshmana and other monkey warriors, they rejoiced and they were very happy with the death of Indrajit, because that is 3/4 battle won. Because Indrajit is the one, if you remember, he's been the one who's been causing trouble from day one, and after that magically disappearing into the clouds and making everybody unconscious. So he is one of the strongest warriors, and that day he died and everybody was really, really happy. So Lakshmana and all the monkey warriors, they came back to Rama and they gave him the great news that Indrajit is dead, and Rama warmly embraced Lakshmana, congratulated him on his great victory, and they all rejoiced and they were all very, very happy with the outcome of the battle. So that is where we stopped our story session last week. So let's continue from there. A very important and a very excellent story session that we have today. Before that, we have a question. Aditi, doesn't Lakshmana get hurt and Hanuman has to go to get Sanjeevani? Yes, we are going to see that today, Aditi. We are going to cover that story part today. That is not a part of his battle with Indrajit. That happens a little later. Anybody else, any questions?
Sir, is this the last episode with Rama plus Ravana?
We'll see. Why taste the cake before, like why get anxious before going into the story. It'll be interesting story. Okay, let's wait and see what we are going to unveil today. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome. So anybody else, any questions? Okay, so Rama and his team were very, very happy. The army is like rejuvenated energy because Indrajit is dead. And this news went back to Ravana. Spies took the news back to Ravana. And this is a very shocking news to Ravana, because Indrajit, he's like his right shoulder. He's always been with him. He won so many battles for him. And on top of all that, he is his eldest son. He defeated even gods and always made him proud in all those battles. So Indrajit's death brought out a very, very, very sorrowful event for Ravana. He was angry, he was emotional, he was very sad and sorry about Indrajit. However, he did not have any regrets for what he has done to bring upon this battle. So if you have to pinpoint one single reason for this entire battle, that is Ravana. Because even though Rama is the victim and Sita Devi is the victim there, who were impacted by Ravana's bad deeds, going to the forest and abducting Sita Devi with the magical trick played by him and Maricha, Rama has always tried for the peaceful path. Even before the battle, he sent Angada. He said, let's not do this. Let's save all the lives on both sides. All you have to do is bring Sita Devi back to me and ask for forgiveness. But Ravana wouldn't agree to that because of his false ego, the arrogance that nobody can defeat him. What happened because of that? So if he was so confident, why didn't he go first and put an end to it? Instead, he sacrificed all the people's lives around him, including his sons, like Akshakumara, who's very, very young boy, and now Indrajit, his brother Kumbhakarna's sons, his chief commanders, the sons of chief commanders, thousands and thousands and millions of warriors, animals like horses, chariots, elephants. Why did all of these sacrifice their lives? because of the greed of Ravana to do something that is wrong and that is evil. So now, with all the emotion and the anger that Ravana has, he called upon all the remaining chief commanders, lieutenants, and admirals, everybody, all over, whoever there, wherever, anybody in the army, he called upon everybody and he challenged all of them. He said, look, so we are getting defeated again and again and again. This is a test to all of you and your bravery and the kind of warriors you are. So all of you go at once. There is no strategy, there is no division of army, there is no pulling back, saving some here and looking to go tomorrow. There is no shifts. Everybody, whoever is there in the entire city of Lanka and in the kingdom and around the world, pull everybody together and go at once. I want results. I want everybody in the opponent army to be defeated today. If not, I will be in the battle myself tomorrow and I will show you how it is done. So he encouraged them, he provoked them to lead a very furious battle. So that's exactly what happened. So they came out with such anger. The team of Ravana, the armies of Ravana, they came out with such anger, such revenge and such power. They came out of the fort gates and with immense force they started attacking the monkey warriors and the team of Rama. Even the strongest of the strongest warriors like Sugriva, Angada, Nila, Nala, Hanuman, everybody were just baffled by the fight they were putting up that day because of the anger that built up, right? Indrajit, their favorite leader and the great warrior, after his death, they all got provoked and they put up a very, very, very immense battle that day. So the monkey warriors were getting hurt, they were bleeding, they were falling down on the ground, they were falling unconscious, they were crying for help, and everybody started shouting the name of Rama. Rama, help us, this, we are not able to tolerate this, we are getting punished, we are getting defeated left and right, you have to do something about it. So the one thing with Rama is, we talked about this before also, when Vibhishana came to join to Rama's team, everybody except for Hanuman, they said no way. He is from the opposite team, he could be a spy. Never join an opponent into your team, he will give away all your secrets and take them secretly back to Ravana. He said, no, that is not how I operate. Anybody who comes to me to help and says, I am your team, help me and save me, protect me, I will extend my protection to them. I will always be with them. Not just the monkey warriors, even for us. All we have to do is pray to Rama and say, we surrender to you. All we know is to pray to you. He will always be there and he will always protect us. Same thing in this incident also. Anybody hurts and anybody brings pain to his team, and if they start crying out with that pain, he takes it personally. He doesn't say, oh, okay, you guys are all army members, you guys are disposable, you guys are supposed to fight in the battle, you guys get hurt. He doesn't take it that way. He gets hurt by the pain of others. So Rama, he immediately stepped up and he started fighting like he never fought before. That day, the battle that Ravana put up, he is taking out arrows like in hundreds in a minute, hundreds and hundreds of arrows in a minute. They are able to see the arrows falling like a rain, but they're not able to see where they are coming from. They're falling in a trajectory, coming in thousands. In a couple of minutes, thousands of arrows are coming and falling on the opponents. So as they're looking up in the sky, it's looking like a big rain is falling upon them. And they're trying to see where it is coming from. Because of the volume of the arrows coming from the origin, they're not even able to see Rama where he is. So that is how many arrows he is releasing because of all that anger, because of all the emotion that he has. So he fought a very, very, very unique and very skillful battle that day. That what happened is all the other monkey warriors, they just stopped. They started looking only at Rama and they were like very surprised. They had all their jaws dropped and their mouths wide open and eyes wide open. They never saw a battle like that. So they were so surprised by the anger that Rama displayed that day and the kind of battle that he did that day. That day, within 3 hours, Rama killed so many warriors, about thousands and thousands of warriors, about 10,000 elephants he killed all by himself, 8,000 chariots, and 14,000 of the warriors who were riding on the horses. So you can imagine what kind of battle he put up all by himself. No timeouts, no breaks, no breathing room, nothing. He didn't give a chance to the opponents. He didn't take a break himself. He went on and on continuously because, for one reason, he did not show mercy that day because his team cried in pain, Rama, help. Rama, you have to save us from this pain that the opponent team is causing to us. That is the kind of compassion that Rama has. Even in the middle of the battle, he's always looking out for his team and he's always looking out for his people. So somebody has a question, somebody raise their hand.
Yes, sir. I had a doubt that doesn't the arrows be done in the Rama's
Quiver. It's called a quiver where the baskets are in the back of their shoulders, right? So when they initially when they went to Agastya in the Aranya Kanda, they went to different gurus in Aranya Kanda. Remember? So sage Agastya gave Rama and Lakshmana so many weapons and so many magical bows, arrows, and the quivers. So the quivers that Rama and Lakshmana carry, they are called Akshaya Tuniras. Akshaya means unlimited. In our language, it's called infinity. Infinity means as he uses the arrows, they'll keep refilling automatically. That is the gift that is given by Agastya. He acquired those weapons from gods with his tapas, with his spiritual strength, and he gave them to Rama and Lakshmana because he knows that a big battle is coming, and that's what gurus do, right? Even Vishwamitra, when in the Balakanda, they followed Vishwamitra to the forest. Remember how many astras and shastras he gave? So because of those powers, he has those unlimited arrow quivers. Okay?
Okay.
Awesome. So that amazing, magnificent battle that Rama performed that day. So everybody was baffled. All the opposing team, demons and warriors, they ran back because of the battle that Rama has performed. And they went back to Ravana and they complained to Ravana, we won't be able to stop Rama. You have to come to the battlefield yourself. Meanwhile, Sugriva and Hanuman and Vibhishana, they came to Rama and they asked, what is with this anger? What is with this battle? We never saw anybody fight like this before. And this is like one of the best battles that we have witnessed in our lives. Then Rama said, yes, if my people are getting hurt, that is how I will react. And I will unleash all the force that I have. And only two people can fight like this. It is either me who can release arrows and weapons like this, or it is Trambaka, is Lord Shiva. Only two people can fight a battle like this, either me or Lord Shiva. Nobody else can battle like this. So he is unveiling the secret that they're both the same. You can choose whichever God you want to pray, but at the end of the day, they're all one and one only single God. You can name them differently, you can call them whatever you want, but one single God. So that's what Rama is expressing there. So they went back and they complained to Ravana. So Ravana, he himself came to the battlefield the next day. So again, you know how much anger he has built up and how much emotion he has built up because of all the losses that he had, and he thought he won the battle a couple of times, but not really, right? So he came onto the battlefield, and each of the warriors like Hanuman, Sugriva, Angad, Vibhishana, they all tried and they came in front of Ravana and they tried to stop him. They threw all their weapons, they put up a little bit of battle, but nobody could actually give him a very tight battle. Everybody was fighting with him for a little while and they're running out of weapons or they're running out of the power and they are going somewhere else. So nobody was able to withstand the power that Ravana is fighting with that day. Pranavi, did you have a question?
Which session is this?
Session 25. Yuddha Kanda. Okay. So Lakshmana, then he saw everybody one after the other fighting this battle and then moving away from there, right? So then Vibhishana, he tried to stop Ravana. He tried to stop Ravana and he was not able to stop him. And then Lakshmana, he also tried to stop Ravana. Then he was also not able to stop Ravana at that point. Then Rama himself, he came and he fought a big battle with Ravana. And then they both fought for a lot of time and they both unveiled all their weapons. They threw arrows at each other and a beautiful, beautiful battle happened between both of them. At the end of the day, Ravana was very, very tired. He was not able to put up a battle anymore. Then what he did, he dropped his weapons and then he returned back to his fort. And Rama let him do it because Rama, he's always following rules and he's always following the rule book. He never ever crosses the rule book, right? So he said, if you're tired, okay, go back today, come back again tomorrow, we'll fight the battle again. But he did not take his arrow and release it against somebody who was returning back, showing his back. So that is the greatness of Rama, right? So next day, again, Ravana, he came back and he started doing an excellent battle. Again, same thing, different warriors are coming up and they're standing in front of Ravana, but they're not able to put up that battle, the one-on-one, the duel that Ravana, to stop Ravana, right? Then Ravana, he saw Vibhishana at once and then he got very, very, very angry. Because one of the reasons why Indrajit is dead today is because of Vibhishana. He is the one who said this is all a magical trick and that Indrajit has to complete this ritual. And once he completes, he will become invincible. So he gave away the secrets. So he was very angry at Vibhishana. So what he did, he started throwing a lot of weapons at Vibhishana. He wanted to really punish him and hurt him. So Lakshmana, he saw and he intercepted. He came in the middle and he said, no, you're not going to hurt Vibhishana. And then they both started fighting, Ravana and Lakshmana. So Ravana, then Lakshmana, they started fighting and they fought for a lot of time. And Ravana finally, he said, okay, I have to do something and I have to use one of my strongest weapons. And he took out a spear that he got from the gods, which is called a Shakti. Shakti itself, by the name, it's called, Shakti means power. So he took it out and he held it on his right hand with all the strength and muscle and power. He pulled it all the way back and then he released it onto Lakshmana. So it came with such speed that Lakshmana couldn't even retaliate with an arrow to strike it in the middle or to defend himself. So as it got released and as it was traveling in the air, Rama quickly looked at it and he immediately realized some danger is coming on to Lakshmana. And he immediately started praying, let this weapon not hurt Lakshmana. Let this weapon not hurt Lakshmana. Because he immediately realized that that is a deadly weapon and it is coming with great speed onto Lakshmana. And as he anticipated, that spear came with great speed and it hit Lakshmana's chest and it went through the body of Lakshmana and it went into the ground and Lakshmana fell onto the ground immediately and he fell unconscious. So everybody, they stopped immediately. They didn't know what to do. They were very confused. They were baffled. They were in tears. They were sad. All the teams of Rama, they didn't know what to do. But Rama, again, he is so emotional because he loves Lakshmana like his own son, not like a brother, right? So he immediately, but there is an opponent fighting there. There is no time to sit and cry or to sit and strategize or show sorrow and sadness. So he immediately have to act upon it. So he told Hanuman to take Lakshmana back to the camp where he can be given first aid and he can be taken care of while he stops Ravana. So that's exactly what he did. Hanuman, he immediately took Lakshmana and carried him back to the camp where Sushena and other doctors, they were attending to him, giving him first aid. He was deeply hurt. That spear, that big spear, that God-given spear with a lot of strength, that pierced into the heart, into the chest of Lakshmana, right? So then Rama again put up a very great fight with Ravana. He stopped him, and again he used all his weapons, all his arrows. He retaliated him, and he showed him the strength of Rama. Again, he showed the strength of what Rama can do. And Ravana, again, at the end of the day, they took a break and they went back in their own directions to continue the battle the next day. So meanwhile, Rama, he knows that Lakshmana is deeply hurt. So he stopped Ravana, he sent him back to his palace. Now it is his turn to take care of Lakshmana. So he immediately, after the battle is done and Ravana went back, he immediately rushed back to the camp to take care of Lakshmana. So he is deeply hurt. Lakshmana, Sushena said, there is nothing I can do. He is deeply hurt. He is unconscious. Every attempt that I made, it's not able to revive him. I'm not able to do anything as a doctor. So now it is time for a miracle. I am not able to do anything at this point. Now again, Hanuman, if he can go back to Himalayas and he can bring that Sanjeevani, Mruta Sanjeevani, which can bring back the life of even dead people. I can use those herbs. I can heal Lakshmana and bring him back to life. So again, Hanuman, he's always waiting to serve and help Rama. As soon as he got the orders from Rama, he immediately took a leap. He went on to the biggest mountain there is, and then he traveled all the way from Lanka to Himalayas. So in the previous session, when this happened, everybody was unconscious. He did this once. Remember, he went all the way to Himalayas, got the entire mountain and came back, right? So same thing, he went all the way to Himalayas, he brought the Sanjeevani mountain, and then he traveled back to Lanka in no time. Within minutes, he went back and he brought the mountain and came back, returned. So we talked about the distance. It is one end of India to the other end, northmost tip of India, almost 3,000 miles. So if one were to travel in a car, it will take about 110 hours continuously without breaks. So you can imagine the distance he covered just by flying with his excellent speed and his strength. He lifted the mountain and he came back with the excellent herbs and he landed back in Lanka. So Sushena, he used all the herbs that Hanuman got in the Sanjeevani mountain, and then he used them to heal Lakshmana, and then he cured the damage or the hurtful the wound that the spear caused to Lakshmana, that Ravana released, and he put a band on top of it, and the bleeding stopped and the wound healed completely by itself. Normally it would take months for something to heal like that, right? But these are magical herbs that could cure somebody immediately and also bring back somebody's life even after they're dead. So they're very magical and they have lots of powers. So they were able to work immediately, instantaneously, and Sushena was able to cure Lakshmana immediately. So Rama was very, very, very pleased and happy to see that Lakshmana got cured and he is back to his 100%, back to his usual strength, his usual energy, and his wound got completely cured. And so Rama, he immediately went to Hanuman and he once again thanked him. He expressed his gratitude to Hanuman. And as usual, Hanuman is always humble and a loyal servant of Rama. So with both his hands folded, he told Rama that I will always be there to serve you. Treat me as your servant. All I want to do is to serve you. So that is the greatness of Hanuman, the humbleness, the humility, along with all the other great virtues that he has, like the speed, the strength, the muscle power, the presence of mind, the intellect, the wisdom, many, many, many great virtues. Out of all of them, the humbleness and humility is also a great, great, great virtue that Hanuman has. So all the soldiers and the commanders of Rama's side, they were all very, very happy with the outcome because they were all worried about Lakshmana, right? So now that Lakshmana is up and he's all healthy and hale, they were all back to their usual 100% with all their energy and ready to battle. So again, next day, the battle started. Ravana came on his magnificent big chariot with so many horses, with his charioteer, thousands and thousands of weapons on his chariot, and surrounded by charioteers, the warriors on the chariots, the warriors on horses, the warriors on elephants, and the warriors who are walking with their weapons, thousands and thousands and thousands of them. He came out with grandeur and lots of sound, thinking that he is going to win the battle today. He wanted to finish the battle, and he is very emotional and he is very, very, very angry. So if you think about it, Ravana, he has all these weapons and the chariot and the horses and all these things. And Rama, until now, he's been fighting on the ground. He's standing on the ground and he's fighting from the ground. So the gods and the sages and all other celestial beings, they started coming up onto the top of the sky above the clouds, because one of the biggest battles and something that they have been waiting for years and years and years and years. That's why they went and complained to Lord Brahma in the beginning. Remember, what do we do with Ravana? He is doing all these atrocities. Nobody is able to stop him. Only humans and monkeys can stop him. So what do we do now? Then Lord Vishnu said, okay, I will be born as a human. So gods have been waiting for this day for a long time. So all of them, they came on top of the clouds and they were sitting like they were sitting in an auditorium watching at a play or a game or a big sport that is happening, right? So they were very curious. They were all nail-biting battle that is happening underneath. Then they saw that this is an imbalance. This is not straight. This is not right. Ravana on his chariot and Rama on the ground. So we have to somehow balance it. So Indra, he immediately called upon his charioteer. His name is Matali. And he said, take my chariot, the special chariot that I use for all my battles. Tell Rama that it is sent by gods, and be his charioteer and lead him in this battle and lead him to victory. So the great chariot of the gods that was given as a gift to Rama. So Matali, he immediately came onto the battlefield on the magnificent chariot that is Indra's chariot, and he offered it to Rama. He said, this is the chariot that was sent by gods, and this is fair because your opponent is on a chariot. It is only fair that you also fight the battle on your chariot. So immediately Rama is always by books, right? He won't do anything that is unfair. But this is fair. If the opponent is on the chariot, it is fair that he is also on the chariot. So he climbed up the chariot, and Matali, he is an expert charioteer, especially when it comes to battles. He has so much experience. He knows how to maneuver, how to go which side, how to stop, how to come back, how to veer in different directions. So the warrior who is in the chariot, he is correctly placed in the battlefield to give his best. So Matali and the charioteer of Ravana, they both come in front of each other, and then they start battling again, Rama and Ravana. Excellent battle. Both of them, they know that this is a very, very important battle. So they start taking out their most powerful weapons that they got from their gurus, their teachers, their gods, boons that they got from different gods. All of those weapons, they started striking against each other. So all the other warriors, they just stopped. They stopped and they just started watching Ravana and Rama. There is lightning, there is clouds, thunders, there's huge armies that are coming out of those arrows, and all the wonderful things and magical things happening from both the weapons that they are releasing, that it is so stunning that they start battling amongst each other, and they just started wondering and they just started looking at it like it is a wonder. So the great example that sage Valmiki gave is An ocean, if you have to compare an ocean, there is no other comparison. You have to say ocean looks like an ocean. That is the biggest water body. What else can you say to compare an ocean? If there is a big pond, you can say, oh, that is like a big river. If there is a stream of water which is big and there is a lot of rainfall got coming into a stream, it can say, oh, that is a big stream of water looking like a river. But for an ocean, there is no bigger comparison. Ocean is an ocean. Same thing for the sky. Can you compare sky with anything? Sky is unlimited. Sky is everywhere. There is no other comparison for sky. Sky is sky. Sky is unlimited. In the same way, Rama's and Ravana's battle has no other comparison. That is unique by itself, and that kind of battle never happened before and will never happen in the future. That is what sage Valmiki said, because that is the kind of magnificent battle that they both led that day. And the hours are passing by, they're exhausting all their arrows, all their weaponry, they're throwing all this stuff at each other, they're strategizing in different directions, but both of them stand strong and they're not looking like they're going to be defeated, they're not looking like they're getting weak. So both of them are really, really exhausted. So at that point, Ravana's charioteer, again, the charioteer in a battle, they have a little bit of freedom. They can strategize, they can use their strategies and experience to do different things that will give advantage to their warrior. So what he realized is that Ravana is getting exhausted by all the weaponry that Rama is using, and he could use a break. So what he did, he immediately pulled back without anybody knowing, sneaked out of the battlefield without anybody knowing, in excellent speed. Before even anybody could react, Rama could react or his charioteer could follow, he immediately pulled back from the battlefield and took Ravana away to the side, so that Ravana could get a breathing room. He can think straight and strategize again and come back again to the battlefield. So that is what his charioteer did. So Ravana, he got very, very angry. He said, I'm in the middle of this great battle and you pull out like this. Are you a spy of Rama? Are you doing this to get me defeated? Why are you doing all this? He got very angry at the charioteer. Then charioteer, he said, O great King Ravana, I only did this for your benefit. You look like you are in loss to which weapon to use next. You are so confused, you are so exhausted, you are so tired. I wanted to give you a little bit of break so that you can gain your energy, gain your thinking power, so you know what all weapons you have that you can use one after the other. So take this time, take a breather, close your eyes, meditate a little bit and think of all the things that you can do, re-strategize, and then I will take you back to the battlefield and then you can do your thing and emerge victorious. So Ravana, then it made sense to him and he said, okay, that makes sense, and I'm going to give it some thought and I'm going to re-strategize and then I'm going to re-energize and then we will go back to the battlefield. So when Ravana pulled out of the battlefield, Rama also automatically got a break, right? Because they both were fighting and this warrior went back. So Rama, he doesn't have an opponent that he has to fight at this point. And Rama is also very tired at that point and he's also confused. I'm using all my weaponry, all my strength, all my great weapons that I got from my teachers, and I'm not able to do anything. What do I do? I'm confused. I'm lost. How do I win this battle? All these questions. Rama is also at that point where he is very, very vulnerable and he's not able to figure out his next steps. So he looked very confused and sad and he was just looking into the skies and into this open space as Ravana went back out of the battlefield. He looked so confused and lost. At that point, the greatest moment, one of the greatest moments of the battle, I will mark it one of the greatest moments of the battle, one of my favorite moments. The greatness of a teacher, the greatness of our sages, it is displayed at this event. So as Rama was confused and lost and didn't know what to do next, sage Agastya, everybody remember sage Agastya? Thumbs up.
The one who gave Rama the slogan.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so he magically came onto the battlefield. Remember, everybody was on top of the clouds sitting there watching this magnificent battle. So they know what is happening, they know what kind of help Rama needs. So the teacher, that is Agastya, he came down onto the battlefield and he started talking to Rama. Oh Rama, you look like you're in despair. You look like you're in pain. You look like you don't know what to do next. That is when he gave the great stotram called Aditya Hrudayam. Aditya Hrudayam means the heart of sun god. In literal translation, Hrudayam is heart, Aditya is the sun god. So that is a 31 verse stotram, and he gave that stotram to Rama. He said, chant this stotram for 3 times. Think of Lord Surya Bhagavan, who is also your ancestor. And there is nothing that Lord Surya Bhagavan cannot give you. Anybody who chants this stotra for 3 times, they will emerge victorious. They will get rid of all their fears, anything that is scaring them, whatever their missions are, the good missions, they will accomplish all of them. So he taught Rama the Aditya Hrudayam, 31 verse great stotram, that is the Aditya Hrudayam, which is in praise of sun god. And he said, chant it 3 times and you will get victory. So Rama was so happy. Imagine him being in despair. Imagine, when you're writing a test or an exam, you get a question that you don't know answer to. You're thinking so hard, but you cannot even imagine the next step. You don't know what, your pen is not even moving. So Rama was in that kind of position. He don't know what to do. At that time, Sage Agastya, the great teacher, he comes down and he gives this excellent stotram, Aditya Hrudayam, and he says, chant this for 3 times and you will know what to do next. That is what a prayer does, right? So Rama, he with great gratitude does namaskaram to Sage Agastya, and then he chants, he sits down and he does the achamanam, which is the purification process, and then he chants Aditya Hrudayam 3 times. So what happens with the prayer, especially with the great prayer like Aditya Hrudayam, it's not like the sun god will come in person in front of you. What happens, the instant reaction will be, it will open up your mind. You yourself will start getting new ideas. So imagine you didn't know what to write next. You're stuck in the question paper, don't know what to do. It'll open up. The mind will start working and you will start to think, oh, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should work on this. So you yourself will start knowing what to do in the next steps. That's exactly what happened here. So once he completed chanting Aditya Hrudayam for 3 times, Rama, he was re-energized. He got confidence like never before. He was in despair. He was in pain. He didn't know what to do next. Remember, all that happened in that 5 minutes that Ravana went out is Sage Agastya came, the great teacher. He taught him Aditya Hrudayam and Rama chanted it 3 times. Different person. In 10 minutes, everything changed. Rama is ready for the battle. In the last couple of slokas in the stotram, he says, I am ready for the battle. I am going to defeat Ravana and there is nobody that is going to stop me. And Surya Bhagavan, he says, yes, you are going to defeat Ravana and you will get the powers and the wisdom and the right thinking for that. And do not make it any more delay. Use your strength at once now and use all the power you got and you finish him off. So Surya Bhagavan, the sun god, also gave his blessings to Rama. So the re-energized Rama, he was waiting for Ravana to come back along with his charioteer, and there he is. Ravana, he again came back into the battlefield. He thought he has his own strategy. Again, they both stand in front of each other. And finally, Rama, he says, okay, I know exactly what to do. He takes out his most magnificent arrow that he has. He strings it on his bow and he pulls it all the way back to his ear and aims at Ravana, and he releases that arrow at once. That arrow went in the air with magnificent speed, spitting different kinds of fire, different kinds of light. So that light is so magnificent and so bright that Ravana was not even able to see clearly. So that is the power of that weapon. It is almost like the sun god himself is coming towards Ravana, right? It was so bright. And it came with all its force, all the power, all the speed, the blessings of all the sages, the blessings of all the gods, and the power and the strength of Rama. And it went and hit the chest of Ravana with great force. And as soon as it hit Ravana, Ravana fell down on the ground. The arrow went deep inside the chest and it took away the life of Ravana. The life of Ravana went into the air. He fell dead on the ground of the battlefield. And Rama and Lakshmana and Hanuman and everybody, they were very, very happy to see that. And at that point, I am going to take a pause and I am going to do the Jaya Ghanta, which is our own celebration and our own magical sound that is for the victory of Rama and the downfall of the evil, that is Ravana. So this is a great event and great episode for us because of the downfall of the evil. Rama, who took the form, Vishnu, who took the form as a human, lived his life, all his life as a human without any extraordinary powers, just as a human. He was able to achieve what the gods and the sages and everybody thought to be an impossible task. He achieved it. He achieved it without any falsification or without any cheating or without any treacherous methods, just by following the rule book by word. He did not overcome or he did not cross the rule book even once. He did everything right and he emerged victorious. So it is a lesson for us that always do the right thing and the good will always win. So that is the downfall of Ravana. A great episode for us. And as soon as Ravana is dead, all the remaining demons, all the warriors, they just ran, they hid in different places. They ran away from Lanka and the battle got finished. And whoever is left, they all came to Vibhishana and they all started asking for his forgiveness. And they said, we don't want to do this battle anymore. Please forgive us. We will be on your side and we are going to do whatever you say. So Rama said, okay, forgive them. Do not kill the opponent who asks for our protection. So they all left them alone and everybody started celebrating their great victory. So Rama, he immediately asked Hanuman, called him and he said, go at once to Sita Devi. Tell her this great news that Rama won the battle and she is going to be freed immediately. So Hanuman, he took the message of Rama and he went at once to the Ashoka garden where Sita Devi was sitting when he initially went and met her in Sundarakanda. He did namaskaram to her and then he gave the great news that the battle is over and Rama won that battle. So you can imagine how happy, excited, relieved, and how looking forward to meet her husband, the excitement, the joy, all these emotions Sita Devi must have felt that day. So she was very happy. At that point, Hanuman, he looks at Sita Devi and he says, I know that the gods, these she-demons that are around you at this point, I know they caused a lot of pain for you in previously. They came to you, they scared you so many times. They said they're going to eat you. They tried to threaten you. Give me your order. Tell me okay, and I am going to squish them all with my punches and my kicks, and nobody will be alive. I won't even spare them because they are women. Because of the pain they caused you, just with your order, I'm going to kill them all. Then Sita Devi said, as you are following the instructions of your boss, Rama, he said, go and give this message to Sita Devi. And that's what you are doing. You came here and you are giving that message. In the same way, they followed the instructions that their boss gave them. And their boss, Ravana, he was a bad person and he got the punishment that he deserved. Do they deserve the same kind of punishment? I don't think so. Because they were just following the instructions of their boss. They are not punishable by death. So I forgive them and I ask you to forgive them also. So relieve them of the pain and relieve them of this of the punishment that you are going to give, so that they can live their life in a nice way now. So they were all, she demons were very happy that she forgave them, and she asked Hanuman not to punish them. So they all came to Sita Devi and they did namaskaram to her and asked for forgiveness. So after that, the Hanuman and Sugriva and Angad, they all brought Sita Devi outside to Rama very, very respectfully on a big palanquin. Palanquin is a big carriage where they carry the carriage on the shoulders and somebody important will sit inside with the curtains and all. So something that you see behind, right? So they got her out like a great queen that she is. They got her on the shoulders in the palanquin, and she came out and she was very, very, very happy to see Rama and Lakshmana and to know that the battle is done and that she is free from the bondage and she is free to leave Lanka along with her husband. So at that great moment there, where everybody was happy and all the monkeys were rejoicing, and Vibhishana, Angad, Lakshmana, Rama, Sita Devi, everybody are happy. We are going to conclude this session. Then we have a little bit of story left to next week, where they're going to have a conversation, Rama and Sita Devi, and then they're going to return back to Ayodhya. We're going to conclude the Ramayanam session with that small part next week. And then as time permits, we're going to do a Kahoot session next week. So with that, we are going to conclude the story session. And then we are going to go to the next segment. In this segment, as usually, we do a Hanuman Chalisa recital. In this segment, we are actually going to do Agastya given Stotram. I talked about this in the story. This is the Aditya Hrudayam, the 31 verses that sage Agastya gave to Rama in the middle of the battle, that gave him the energy and strength to finish the battle with Ravana. So I am going to chant the sloka, stotra. You guys just pay attention, follow the words and listen to me. This is an excellent stotram that everybody has to do every day, not only to get the powers and strength, but also to express our gratitude to the Sun God for everything that he gives us day after day, day after day, day after day. So let's get started with the recital. I'm going to recite it very slowly. Just follow along with me. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Tato yuddha parishrantam samare chintaya sthitam ravanam chagrato društva yuddhaya samupasthitam daivataischa samagamya drashtumabhyagatoranam upagamya bravidramam agastyo bhagavan rushihi Rama Rama Mahabaho Shrunuguhyam Sanatanam Yena Sarvan Nareen Vatsa Samare Vijayishyasi Aditya Hrudayam Punyam Sarvashatru Vinashanam Jayavaham Japen Nityam Akshayam Paramam Shivam Sarvamangala Mangalyam Sarvapapa Pranashanam Chintashoka Prasamanam Ayurvardhanamuttamam Rashmimantam Samudyantam Devasura Namaskrutam Pujayasya Vivaswantam Bhaskaram Bhuvaneshwaram Sarva Devatmako Hyesha Tejasvi Rashmi Bhavanah Esha Deva Suraganan Lokan Pati Gabhastibihi Esha Brahma cha Vishnuscha Shiva Skandah Prajapatihi Mahendro Dhanadah Kalo Yamah Somo Hyavam Patihi Pitaro Vasavah Sadhya Hyashvino Maruto Manuhu Vayurvahni Prajaprana Rutukarta Prabhakaraha Aditya Savita Surya Kagah Pusha Gabhastiman Suvarna Sadrusho Bhanuhu Hiranyareta Divakaraha Haridashvasahasrarchih Sapta Saptir Marichiman Timiron Mathana Shambhustvashta Martanda Amshuman Hiranyagarbhashishirastapano Bhaskaro Ravihi Agni Garbhodite Putras Shankashishira Nashanaha व्योमनाथस्तमो भेदी ऋग्यजुस्सामपारगः घनवृष्टिरपां मित्रो विन्ध्यवीथीप्लवङ्गमः आतपी मण्डली मृत्युः पिङ्गळः सर्वतापनः कविर्विश्वो महातेजा रक्तः सर्वभवोद्भवः नक्षत्रग्रहताराणामधिपो विश्वभावनः तेजसामपि तेजस्वी द्वादशात्मन्नमोऽस्तु ते नमः पूर्वाय गिरये पश्चिमायाद्रये नमः ज्योतिर्गणानां पतये दिनाधिपतये नमः जयाय जयभद्राय हर्यश्वाय नमो नमः नमो नमः सहस्रांशो आदित्याय नमो नमः नम उग्राय वीराय सारंगाय नमो नमः नमः पद्मप्रबोधाय मार्ताण्डाय नमो नमः ब्रह्मेशानाच्युतेशाय सूर्यायादित्यवर्चसे भास्वते सर्वभक्ष्याय रौद्राय वपुषे नमः तमोघ्नाय हिमघ्नाय शत्रुघ्नायामितात्मने कृतघ्नघ्नाय देवाय ज्योतिषां पतये नमः तप्तचामीकराभाय वह्नये विश्वकर्मणे नमस्तमोभिनिघ्नाय रुचये लोकसाक्षिणे नाशयत्येष वैभूतं तथैव सृजति प्रभुः पायत्येष तपत्येष वर्षत्येष गभस्तिभिः एष सुप्तेषु जागर्ति भूतेषु परिनिष्ठितः एष एवाग्निहोत्रं च फलं चैवाग्निहोत्रिणां वेदाश्च क्रतवश्चैव क्रतूनां फलमेव च यानि कृत्यानि लोकेषु सर्व एष रविः प्रभुः येन मापत्सु कृच्छ्रेषु कान्तारेषु भयेषु च कीर्तयन् पुरुषः कश्चिन्नावसीदति राघव पूजयस्वैनमेकाग्रो देवदेवं जगत्पतिं एतत्त्रिगुणितं जप्त्वा युद्धेषु विजयिष्यसि अस्मिन् क्षणे महाबाहो रावणं त्वं वधिष्यसि एवमुक्त्वा तदागस्त्यो जगाम च यथागतम् एतच्छ्रुत्वा महातेजा नष्टशोको भवत्तदा धारयामास सुप्रीतो राघवप्रयतात्मवान् आदित्यं प्रेक्ष्य जप्त्वा तु परं हर्षमवाप्तवान् त्रिराचम्य शुचिर्भूत्वा धनुरादाय वीर्यवान् रावणं प्रेक्ष्य हृष्टात्मा युद्धाय समुपागमत् सर्वयत्नेन महता वधे तस्य धृतोऽभवत् अथर्वीरवदन् निरीक्ष्य रामं मुदितमनाः परमं प्रहृष्यमाणः निशिचरपतिसंक्षयं विदित्वा सुरगणमध्यगतो वचस्त्वरेति. Jai Shri Ram. So with that we will conclude the recital section as well. So if anybody has any questions, you guys can ask now, and then we can go to the Mangala Sasanam segment. Anybody any questions? Okay, excellent. So with the Mangala Sasanam segment, you can all sing with me. We are going to wish the best for everybody in the world. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu. If anybody has any questions, you guys can stay back. Otherwise, you're free to leave now. Again, next week we are going to do a Kahoot section for the entire story of Ramayanam. We can do how many other questions we want, but we're going to do a Kahoot. Thank you, Hari Om. So be prepared. We're going to have some fun next week after the story segment. Okay?
Yes, bye.
All the 6 kandas. Okay? Hari Om. Bye. Hari Om. Anybody any questions? Vaishnav and Sridhar, did you have a question?
Sir, I'm really surprised.
I'm Sridhar and I have a question.
Yes, Sridhar, go ahead, ask.
Are we first going to have the Kahoot of the 6 chapters and all of them, or directly all?
No, we are going to do the story session first, and then we are going to do the Kahoot session after the story session, because we have a very small story session left in Yuddha Kanda. So after that, we are going to do the Kahoot session.
I mean, like, when we're doing the Kahoot, do we first do all of 6 chapters, then do
No.
we do all 1 to 6 chapters?
Yeah, so when I said all 6 chapters, I mean the questions from the Kahoot will be from all the 6 chapters. We're not going to do the chapters, actual chapters, the story. The questions in the Kahoot, they can be from any of the 6 chapters.
Okay.
Okay? Moksha, did you have a question?
No, sir, I wanted to tell you something.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I always try to read the Ramayana, but I never complete. This is the first time I completed session.
Subham, very good. I'm very proud of you, Moksha. I'm very happy that you completed Ramayanam till Yuddha Kanda. And let's have some fun with Kahoot next week as a celebration for our completion. We all completed it together and we all did it as a team, right? So great job, all of you. Okay? God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Hari Om. Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Okay, Sridhar, Hari Om. Srirama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manurame Sahasranam Tattuliyam Ramanam Varane Srirama Rama